Hi everyone, it's me, Twilla. I'm back with another orchid video. This one is about Vanda orchids. Before I get started, I just want to say that I'm very much a newbie orchid grower, and I live on the Canadian prairies and I grow orchids only in my house. So I'm talking about my experiences with that and sharing what I learn as I go along. So, Vanda orchid. I really love them. They get me really excited. I don't know why. I think it's because they're so architectural. Like they have such a strong form and they're like a fan. I almost have to resist the urge to like put it in my hand like so and dance around my kitchen like with my little Vanda dance. But yes, they're lovely. I feel like I'm taking a few chances by wandering into Vanda orchids because they're not exactly a beginner orchid. They have very specific needs. They like a very high temperature. They like lots of light. They grow in very warm climates and they get a torrential downpour and then they completely dry out. That's what they love. So it's a little bit challenging to meet those needs in our homes, as one can imagine. And typically they do better grown in a greenhouse than they do in a house. However, there are ways of working around it and still getting lovely orchids, and that is what I am playing with. I have 3 sizes of Vandas right here, and they're a little bit more expensive when you buy them, and this is why. This is a seedling. It's quite tiny, and this represents, I think, at least 2 years of growth. So it took somebody 2 years to get it to this size. This more medium size, we're probably talking another 3 or 4 years down the road. And then this guy, can you imagine? This is probably 7 or 8 years. So a lot of time and effort has been put into these wonderful orchids before they even arrive in our homes. And this big, beautiful Vanda, I'm telling you, it was love at first sight. I was at MacLeod, Orchids and Tropicals in Edmonton. I saw this Vanda hanging there and it had to come home with me. I'm telling you, it was an inevitability. So I have learned that when you're growing Vanda orchids in your house, there's kind of three ways you can do it. One is often when you purchase them, they're in a little black plastic basket. You can see the basket right in here. And then they hang. And then these roots, they come down. And when they're in a perfect scenario where the orchid is really happy, these roots can be 5 to 6 feet long. Now, I'm not expecting that in my home. But if I were to hang it, like, oh my goodness, wouldn't it look beautiful just hanging right there? I would be misting that orchid lots, like at least 2 times a day. And I think in my house, knowing what I know in my house, it would be 3 to 4 times a day easily. So what I have done is example number 1. You can grow Vanda orchids in glass. And it seems kind of crazy, right? There's no growth medium in there or anything, but what you do is you put them in glass and you soak them in water for 24 hours once a week. And these roots will continue to grow. They get their humidity because when you grow in glass, it tends to capture humidity, and then they get to dry out. So far so good. This seems to be working. And I have a bit of a tip in case you want to try this. So you can see I've still got the basket right here that the orchid came in, and there's also wire right here. And what you can do is you can bend that wire and use it as a support inside the glass container because you're going to be taking this and dumping it at some point. So just that little bit of stability is nice to have. Okay, and now I kind of have a variation on the theme with the medium-sized version. When I purchased this one, I knew nothing. It was in a basket and it had 1 viable root only. And I was trying to mist it and keep up with it, and I just couldn't because, you know, I work, I have a day job. And so I decided to put it in glass. And I made newbie mistake number 1, but I got away with it. It was in a beautiful basket, and I worked the one root that I had, I worked it out. So I took a big chance. I could have ruined the orchid, but now it's inside of this glass bowl. But what I don't have now with this one is the support that I have with this one. So I have to be a bit careful. And in the bottom of this, just to sort of anchor it in, I have added, this is just another Twilla experiment. I have put in some lava rock, a bit of charcoal, and some moss on top, just to hold the humidity in and give those poor minimal amount of roots in there some stability as it continues to grow. And I do have new root growth, and these most fresh leaves on the Vanda are growing. So I think everything's going to be okay. Now, with this little guy, the seedling, we have a different method of watering. We would call it a dunking method, where this one you just submerge it in water. I kind of give it a generous amount of time. I'm playing with it like an hour, and you'll see that the roots, these ones right now, are quite gray, and they will turn bright green when they're thriving. Now, when you leave the Vanda in the basket, the great thing is, if you wanted to take this and put it into a larger, say, terracotta pot or something like that, you can just leave that basket, like put it in the medium with the basket attached. And then it always kind of has that foundation, because you can see it has such a flat profile, and then all this presence this way. So it's very tippy. So the base of the basket is something that's nice to have. So this location in my house has a south window and a west window. So it's pretty hot right here. So I'm sure that if any orchid growers are watching this, they're going, oh no, be very careful. And you have to be, because even though this is an orchid that likes a lot of light, a hot south-facing window or west-facing window is not exactly the same environment as being in a like highlight position outside in its natural habitat. Because in the natural habitat, it's also getting humidity, it's getting that rain, it's getting a breeze, it's getting a few things that are cooling it down. And when it's just in a hot window, it's just hot and it's just bright. So you have to be careful about not having too much light on the Vanda. And that's also true if you're using grow lights. If you have the grow lights too close to the Vanda, you'll start to see some yellowing, possibly. And once that happens, you can't get rid of it. But if you do have that happen, don't get rid of the plant. Just back off on the lights, because it will continue to grow for you. Yeah, so that's Vandas. I'm excited. I don't know if these are ever going to bloom for me. I don't know if I have exactly the right circumstances, but I love them. I love how they look even just green. So what I feel like I've learned from just having these 3 Vanda orchids is, even when you have something that maybe needs something really, really specific from you as the grower, or the human that is nurturing the little plant along, once you have it figured out, it's not that complicated. I just remember that on Saturdays, I fill this with water and I soak it till the next day, 24 hours. And I do this one the same way. And this one, I just water along with my other orchids that I do on the dunking method. So there you go. It may not be the easiest orchid to grow, but I think it's worth a shot, giving it a try. And I encourage you, if you see one, to pick one up, because oh my goodness, it's beautiful and it's going to make you want to dance around your house. The Vanda Fanda. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I will be doing a couple other videos on orchids in the coming weeks, one on Cattleya orchids and another one on Oncidiums. So I hope you're enjoying the videos. And again, I'm not an expert, just a newbie growing orchids on the Canadian prairies in my house, and sharing what I'm learning. Okay, so thanks for watching, everyone. Happy gardening, happy growing, and Edmonton Orchid Show is coming up in a few weeks. Hope to see some of you there. Bye for now.